Do it! Carter shouted. Suddenly, Carter's thoughts were filled with many different faces, faces of all of Horace's previous hosts. For the first time, Carter saw and understood Horace's powers and fears. Carter was once again encased in his now golden mystic avatar, only this time, both he and Horace were at the wheel. Carter and Horace spoke in unison. Now, Seth, brother, uncle, traitor, whatever, I shall crush you like a nut. They clashed sword against staff, and sparks flew. They danced around at super speed trying to hit each other. Carter managed to cut Seth at least once on the face. Then, Seth pounded his staff, causing debris to fall. Sadie protected unconscious Zia and Amos and herself with a shield spell. Then, Carter thrusted his arm upward, creating another fist spell, blasting a hole through the roof. Then Carter wrapped Seth into a wrestler's hold and jumped up high through the hole in the ceiling. His idea was to take the fight away from the throne and his friends, so Sadie could have time to get everyone out and hopefully free their dad. Thankfully, Sadie automatically got the gist. Then Zia faintly said, Sadie, his name. You need Seth's secret name. I was trying to tell Carter, but I didn't have time. Evil Day. His secret name is Evil Day. Seth was born, and it was an evil day. Don't worry about me. Carter needs you. She knew she was right. Carter wouldn't have gotten this far without her. She was about to run out when she just remembered the coffin. She walked up to it, wondering how she could open it when Isis called. No, don't, she warned. What you might see may be too dangerous. What are you talking about? I had to free Dad, Sadie said. When she put her hand on the coffin, she fell into a vision. She found herself standing in a familiar street. For some reason, she was back at Cleopatra's Needle in London. Just then, she noticed two people who seemed to be a couple standing just a few feet away. It was her mom and Dad. You're sure about this? Dad asked Mom. Positive, Mom said. She told me this is where it begins. Sadie almost felt like crying. She'd only been 6 when her mom died, and she totally forgot how beautiful her voice was. Then, Sadie noticed something very interesting about the necklace she was wearing. She was wearing Sadie's same amulet, the amulet of Isis. I don't like this, Julia said. You should call on her for help. No, Julius, said Ruby. I know my limits. If I tried again now... But Ruby, if we fail... We cannot fail, Julius, said Ruby. Our children's lives, everyone we care about, the whole world depends on it. They kissed, but they kissed almost as if they were saying goodbye one last time. Then they raised their wands and pointed up at the needle, and the needle started to glow. Sadie realized with a start what she was seeing. This was the night it all started, the very night where Dad lost Mom at Cleopatra's Needle. Sadie wanted to call to them and warn them to stop, but she knew they wouldn't hear her. She knew, deep down, this was all just an image of the past. Sadie could only watch as her parents casted spells at the needle. Then, what looked like a giant red beam of light seemed to grow right out of the needle. Ruby pushed her husband out of the way and the light beamed down and collided with her wand. Sadie watched as her mother screamed in pain and the light faded, and then Ruby fell into her husband's arms. Julius cried as he rocked her in his arms. Oh, my Ruby, he whimpered. Sadie wanted to go over and hug him, but she figured he wouldn't feel her. Just then, she heard a slight meow. At the foot of the needle, they saw Muffin the cat? There was no doubt about it. That same cat was hosting Boss even back then, just as Boss had explained to her before. The vision faded, and Sadie found herself back in the present in the throne room again. Isis? Sadie said to herself. Why didn't you tell me? Why didn't you tell me? She screamed. Then, she wasn't sure if she imagined it, but she thought she heard her dad's voice.
Sadie.
Dad?
Sweetheart, please don't blame Isis for your mother's fate. None of us knew fully what might have happened. She made her decision.
And you just let her? You should have stopped her, Sadie said. I hate you. As soon as she said that, she realized she wanted to say that to him for years, for blaming him for her mom's death, for leaving her with her grandparents in London. Now that she had said it, her anger drained out of her, leaving her empty with nothing but guilt. I'm sorry, she hesitated.
No need to apologize, her father said. You had every right to feel that way. You had to get it out of you. Your mother was the first in centuries to communicate with Isis. Soon enough, she had her own premonitions of chaos rising. The house was failing, and we needed the gods. Isis did warn her it would take many hard sacrifices. We believed opening the needle would release all the gods, but it was only the beginning.
Why didn't Isis try to help? Sadie asked.
She knew if she had let your mother host her fully, she would completely burn out. She freed Bast and used her own power to seal the breach. With her sacrifice, she bought us some time, Sadie. You and your brother have the strongest bond any Kane has had in 3,000 years. Look inside yourself, Sadie. Your mother knew this better than anyone. You two have the best chance at learning the old ways and healing the breach between humans and the gods. It'll be up to you and Carter to restore Mott.
But we could use your help, Sadie said. Just tell me how to get you out.
Sadie, Julius said, when you become a parent, you may understand this better. As a father, one of my hardest jobs, my greatest duties, was realizing my goals and dreams are secondary to my children's. Your mother and I have set the stage, but the roles are yours. The pyramid's designed to feed on chaos, consume power of other gods, and make Seth stronger.
I know, Sadie said. If I could just get the coffin open.
You might save me, Julius finished. But the power of Osiris, the power inside me, would be consumed by the pyramid and make Seth stronger. It must be destroyed, Sadie. All of it. You know what must be done.
Sadie looked at the feather of truth pop up in her hand. Deep down, she knew what he meant. She knew the way. The way was inside her. She finally understood Anubis' question. Would you be prepared to lose your father if it meant saving the world?
May Mud guide you, Sadie, Julius said. I love you, sweetheart.
She closed her eyes and pulled out her staff from her bag and pounded it on the floor. Like her brother, she merged with Isis as one. With that, Sadie rocketed her way up through the hole in the roof. Meanwhile, Carter and Seth were still having their duel outside the pyramid. Only now, the House of Life showed up. Desjardins and his henchmen were all kept busy fighting all the demons.
You'll never defeat me in my own territory, boy,
Seth growled.
I am king of the desert. The desert is where I'm strongest.
That's why we're finishing you outside the desert, a voice said above him. Sadie floated out of the top of the pyramid. She was encased in a glowing avatar shaped like a large woman with blue and red wings and a sun crown. Then she shouted two words that no one could ever expect. Washington, D.C. One moment, a flash of light flooded the entire cavern. The next minute, everyone found themselves right in the middle of the National Mall, along with the entire pyramid. The trip caused Seth to tumble down the side of the pyramid and hit the ground, but Carter caught him. Sadie, the book, Carter called. Do it now! If it weren't for her merging with Isis, she probably wouldn't have heard that, or be able to do what she did next. She raised her hand and summoned the Book of Thoth out of thin air. She held the Feather of Truth in her other hand and began the spell. From the book she chanted the story of creation,
The first mountain rising above the Sea of Chaos, the birth of the gods, Ra, Nut, and Geb, and the first great empire. The Washington Monument glowed behind them. Bits of the pyramid started rising up and getting sucked into the monument. Only then did Sadie remember Zia and Amos were still inside, and she almost faltered. Then she heard her mother's voice saying,
"Stay focused, my dearest. Watch for your enemy."
She realized she was right. As she continued to spell, Seth started changing back from the dog-headed demon to the normal-sized red man.
"I name you Seth,"
Sadie shouted.
"I name you Evil Day."
No! With a thunderous roar, the Washington Monument sucked away the whole pyramid like a vacuum cleaner.
"You have been my enemy,"
Sadie continued,
"and a curse on the land."
A beam of light shot down from the Washington Monument, hitting Seth. They realized it wasn't just a beam of light. It was a pathway between the mortal world and the abyss that would lock Seth away and trap his life force. It probably wouldn't get rid of him forever, but definitely for a long, long time. Sadie had one last line to complete.
"As an enemy of Mutt, and deserving no mercy, you are exiled beyond the earth."
Just then, the red beam seemed to form a shape. It looked like a long red river. No, not a river, a giant serpent. Sadie threw the feather of truth to it as it tried to rise up. As soon as it hit the serpent, its whole body evaporated and the rip closed. Suddenly, Face of Horror jumped out of the rubble and jumped towards Sadie. Carter stopped him in the nick of time by throwing his sword, impaling the demon. Then, Face of Horror spoke with an angry hiss.
"This is not over, Godling. All this I've brought only with the tiniest whisper of my own voice. Imagine what I could have done once I had completed the pyramid and breached my cage and rise to my full strength. You all shall suffer much more than your parents have. You shall..."
BAM! Carter crushed the demon's head under his feet, making him crumble to sand. Then, Carter and Sadie turned back to Seth, who sat perfectly still on the ground. They weren't worried at all, given Sadie had already spoken his secret name. Now he was doing exactly what they wanted. "You both did see that as I did, right?" Sadie asked both of them. "Yeah, the giant red serpent," Carter said. "No doubt about it. That was the chaos snake I mentioned before. Apophis. I totally get it now," he continued. "This whole time the pyramid wasn't to help Seth maintain himself. It was to help Apophis break into the mortal world. He probably would have if the pyramid had been completed. And Face of Horror? He was like Apophis's mouthpiece somehow. He used Seth to get what he wanted."
"No one uses me,"
Seth growled. "Maybe you don't see eye to eye with other gods," Sadie said, "but you're still one of them. Out of all of them, you are the strongest. Ra even trusted you as his loyal lieutenant, who protected him from the snake."
"Which you only know from Toth," Seth argued. "And now Ra is gone, no thanks to you, Isis."
"Maybe," Sadie said, "but maybe not forever. We'll have to find him. We'll need his help to defeat the snake again. And when that time comes, you will aid him. Until then, you'll be taking a nice, long, well-deserved break."
"What?"
"Swear by your own name you will leave the mortal world now and return and remain in the Dewat until we call upon you again." Seth did as he was told. He sounded like it pained him to get the words out, but after he finished, he disappeared into red vapor.
"Ha ha! Just like old times, little sister," Seth chuckled. "You really got me good this time. Nice going!"
Carter and Sadie then proceeded to find Zia and Amos. With the pyramid gone, it wasn't as hard as they thought finding their friends in all that rubble. Eventually, they found him in the exact same spot where they left them.